Kyle, do we have Kyle back here? Oh, yes.
I'm here.
Okay, let me let me officially introduce you, okay? Our next speaker is Mr. Kyle. He's the EVP, Executive Vice President of Business Development and Foreign Direct Investment at World Business Chicago, right? Which is a public-private non-profit partnership that drives inclusive economic growth and job creation, and supports business and promotes Chicago as a leading global city. Mr. Kyle leads World Business Chicago's business development efforts by establishing creative partnerships domestically and globally that drives further economic collaboration between Chicago and industry partners. Again, his full bio is on the platform. Mr. Kyle, do you have your slide? Do you want to share it? Or if you have it up, just go ahead and share it, and welcome.
Thank you, Toyin. Thank you for the invitation. And it's been so fun to sit in and listen. And to echo Bill, when he followed Miss Moore, this is 2 tough acts to follow. I do not like the position I'm in. If I had gone first, but it's a pleasure today. As Toyin said, my name is Kyle Schultz, and I am World Business Chicago's Executive Vice President for Business Development and Foreign Direct Investment. And so I have the awesome job of connecting Chicago with businesses and entrepreneurs all over the world to showcase our incredible economy and the different networks and ecosystems that we can help them tap into as they grow. I've put together an overview deck really to highlight kind of what are some of the opportunities that Chicago has to offer for African businesses that are looking to enter the North American market from a central location, as well as to talk about some of the existing programs and initiatives that we have going on with the continent of Africa, with the hopes that people will chime in with questions during this session and bring new ideas that we can follow up with after today. One of the awesome parts about Chicago is how strong we are as an economy. Since 1837, when we were incorporated, we have slowly and steadily climbed up the rankings as one of the #1 locations to do business, whether that's having the most diversified economy of any large US city or being the top location for corporate investment and relocation for 8 years in a row. Chicago has a multitude of #1 rankings that really allow me to brag in not always such a humble way. As I mentioned before, we have the most diversified economy in any major US city. So whether you're interested in food and ag, film, life sciences, real estate, you can find a marketplace based in Chicago that allows your business to grow without having to hop on planes or identify other new markets. And just last year, we were ranked again by the magazine Site Selection as the #1 North American city for corporate relocation and investment, with 327 major expansions identified in 2020, which, as you factor in how challenging of a business year it was to actually complete deals, not form new partnerships, but to complete deals, we are incredibly proud and point to the resilience and the diversity of our economy as a driving force in that effort. One of the big outcomes of having such a diversified economy is our GDP is the 21st largest GDP in the world. And so you can see here that we have a larger economy than Sweden, Poland, and almost Switzerland. And so as you think about that in terms of just a North American location or a North American marketplace, you get a lot of opportunity from one central location within the North American continent. And we are incredibly focused on being global. Over the last decade, we have taken our global approach and really focused it in on strengthening our trade investment relationships. We have key economic development or trade and investment relationships with the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, Mexico City, London, Tel Aviv, the government of Japan, and Paris. This coupled with almost 1,900 now foreign-based companies that have chosen Chicago to be their primary North American base of operation, 80 consulates, and almost $140 billion in foreign direct investment, find a very welcoming location in Chicago for whatever your business or commercial pursuits are. And coupling those trade and investment relationships are 29 sister cities around the world. When this program was first launched in the late 1950s, Chicago was one of the earliest adopters of sister cities, establishing a relationship with Poland as early as 1960 and expanding those up until 2019 with Sydney, Australia. And one of the proudest things I get to talk about today is our 3 sister cities on the African continent, with Ghana, Casablanca, Morocco, and Durban, South Africa. These relationships are key to our international strategy moving forward. And just this week, we hosted a global tech and innovation series with our 3 sister cities in Africa, focused on the future of agriculture technologies. This 90-minute exchange discussed trends that were happening in agriculture, brought together leaders in ag tech space to share about their innovations, discuss globalization opportunities, and further link Chicago with the African continent and these sister cities in a commercial capacity. These were really successful events. This was actually of a 5-week series we did with our sister cities around the world. The African series was our largest attended discussion, which we'll be following up with more. And Toy and I hope that as we develop these, we can collaborate on what these opportunities are and make sure that your network and this platform are able to participate and add value to those conversations. As I said, that was our largest attended of the 5-week series. And that goes to show kind of a growing and robust trade relationship between the African continent and Chicago. Since there are 54 countries in Africa and only such limited space that a slide adds value to people, I isolated a few of the trading relationships that I thought were most compelling and really spoke to the appetite that Chicago and the state of Illinois have for goods. One of our biggest markets in Illinois and Chicago is the food and agriculture space. And as you see with that top note, cocoa powder, vegetable oil, and you go through it as well, food and ag are a huge commodity that we're looking to import and get in front of our market users. And additionally, we have a strong and growing African investment relationship, whether that's with airlines that we're starting to connect us directly to Africa, the financial services sector, which continues to be a growing space that we've identified as one that is strong, or the restaurant style food. These types of activities help connect our consumers together, help us understand the cultural and the opportunities that are there, and are something we're looking to build upon moving forward. And so with this, I wanted to share those type of opportunities because it helps build up the case that Chicago truly is an accepting global city. And as you can see here, we've got some of the most recognizable names in global commerce that have chosen Chicago, whether that's in life sciences with Astellas, in manufacturing with Simeon's, or in the financial services sector with Zurich. Chicago is a strong place that companies from all over the world have identified with and have chosen to work with World Business Chicago in setting up an operation so they can be the most successful. And here you can see that to reinforce the narrative that we are a diversified economy that has a market opportunity for everyone, I just wanted to call out some of those biggest names that are in Chicago that have the base of operation that World Business Chicago works with closely that can help make trade more of an opportunity. Whether that's McDonald's having their corporate headquarters in downtown Chicago, Kraft Heinz, ConAgra. Chicago is very strong in the food sector. And over the last 3 years, we've had 138% growth in our food and ag-based headquarters locating in Chicago. And so as you look at this opportunity, building on what Bill said, that's an incredible market we would love to talk with you about. And one of the reasons why companies like McDonald's, ConAgra, Astellas, Simeon, and Zurich have chosen Chicago to be their primary base of operation is our cost of doing business. Compared to those recognizable coastal cities of San Francisco and LA and New York City, Chicago offers a significantly lower cost of doing business with the same type of global amenities that those groups do. So as I often say, we are more than just Michael Jordan in the Chicago Bulls. We provide a world-class workforce. Chicago is really the capital of the American heartland, or as we say this way, the American Midwest. We pull talent from all of the major cities around us, whether that's in Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, or Missouri. And that talent is pulled from some of the best universities that the American higher education system has to offer. And one of the things that's most exciting as we move forward into this post-COVID world that will be heavily focused on digital innovations is that we are a top tech destination that has some of the best amenities for aspiring digital entrepreneurs. And one of those that I'd like to just call out is 1871. This is the world's #1 private business incubator. And the name 1871 comes from the Great Chicago Fire. In 1871, Chicago was an up-and-coming city, largely built with wooden houses. And during a very dry October, where there had been no rain for almost 90 days, a neighbor's cow kicked over a lantern and started a fire that burned 2/3 of the city of Chicago to the ground. In the ashes of that, Chicago arose to be the second largest city in the country. 1871 symbolizes that resurgence and growth and is a place that welcomes all type of innovations, all type of ideas and entrepreneurs, and is a great partner for our international community. With the help of 1871, you'll see that there's over 100 other incubators and co-workers that I'll be happy to show the visual of that explosion. There are over 101 Nobel Prize winners in this economy. And really for an entrepreneur that's looking to grow or trade investment, there's 200+ corporate R&D centers that look to connect with up and coming innovation, intellectual properties, and trade partners around the world. And as I've mentioned, 1871 and those other 100 innovation centers, since 2008, in the last 13 years, Chicago has had this almost tidal wave graphic of new innovation, incubator, accelerators open up in the Chicago market. And so if your business is into food and ag, there's a space for you. If your business is into water and the preservation and the improvement of waterways, there's a space. If you're in the creative economy, we have a partner to help connect you in that capacity as well. And one of the biggest strengths that Chicago has that other international partners have identified is our connectivity by air. With the O'Hare International Airport, Chicago has the US's most connected airport and the 3rd most connected airport in the world. And one of the stats I'd like to point out that hopefully will resonate with how connected we are is if you think back to March, when the big ship Ever Given's was stuck in the Suez Canal for 6 days and stuck up global trade. On a monthly basis, Chicago's ports, which include O'Hare, Midway Airport on our south side, and the Port of Chicago, a lake-based seaport, there were the equivalent of 64 Ever Givens that passed through Chicago during that month. So there is a tremendous amount of value and trade that comes through Chicago, which helps link you to your customers around the North American continent. To visualize this, hopefully this is not too hard to see from the screen, but these are all the direct flights that Chicago offers around the US. So we really are the hub for reaching every other market in the United States via air. And to further add to your cross-eyed view today of my pictures, here's a map of all the direct flights we've had for Chicago worldwide. And then of course, because Americans love our vehicles, we have the most connected city by land, whether that's with 9 major interstate highways, a bunch of railroads running through here. You can move goods, we can move people very efficiently from Chicago. And last summer, Chicago was the first major US city to come out with a strategic plan to make sure that we had the fastest, most inclusive economic recovery following the COVID-19 pandemic. And in this 105-page report, it recognized 5 growth sectors that we think we should be focused on to help influence our investment and trade opportunities. And those growth sectors include manufacturing, transportation, distribution, logistics, food and agriculture, healthcare, life sciences, and headquarter and specialty commercial centers around the world. And this focus has really paid off for us, even as we are just now as a city coming out of the pandemic. In May, Sobin, which is a commercial construction company based in Scotland, announced that they were opening their corporate center in North America in Chicago. New Cold, which is a distribution, logistics, storage facility from the Netherlands that is helping add value and make resiliency of the global food supply chain, is opening their headquarters in Chicago and building a series of cold food storage facilities around the American Midwest. La Move, which is a last mile delivery service for small businesses, opened in Chicago from Singapore and Hong Kong. And then the one we're really excited about is the Danish pharmaceutical manufacturer, Orphazyme. It opened in Chicago as they believed that we provided them the best base of operation to get FDA approval for their business as they try to bring their drugs and solutions to the American healthcare system. And one of the items that I know Toyin and I have talked about at length is healthcare and innovation. And Chicago really has the opportunity as we enter the 2020s to be the next big thing in American and North American healthcare system. We have for long been overlooked for Boston, San Francisco, and New York City as a life sciences and health tech innovation company. And that's changing as we get into the 2020s. I mentioned Orphazyme, but I'd also like to mention Tempus, which is a digital technologies storage library for health tech, just completed a Series E raise where their valuation is over $1 billion. Talis Biomedical is a recent IPO company on the NASDAQ, which is from University of Chicago on the Chicago South Side, and is bringing a therapeutic drug to market. And Salt Health, which is another therapeutic drug manufacturer, is relocating into Chicago to grow out their business. And another sector that I haven't mentioned up to now that I'm really excited to talk about and showcase is our growing, what I'll call content or film production scene. Chicago offers, being the fact that it's in the middle of the country, some of the best access to stages, studios, and talent to create world-class content. I've highlighted a couple of the TV shows that are currently filming in Chicago, but I would be remiss if I did not call out my favorite superhero, Batman, and that the recent Chris Nolan Batman trilogy that starred, I forget the actor's name, but that had The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises was filmed in Chicago. So we are experts in filming, and there's more film and TV production happening. As you can see, here are some of the resources that your aspiring content can take advantage of in Chicago. So if producing content, facilitating new stories is of interest to you, would love to have a conversation on how we can plug you in to this emerging studio in Chicago. And then finally, I'll conclude by saying that while we like to talk about all the investment, we really do prioritize on building strong relationships globally. We believe that that is the best way for us to continue to be ranked as the #1 North American metro for foreign direct investment. And our team at World Business Chicago recognizes that there is a process that it requires for a company to become successful to invest. And oftentimes it starts with understanding the trade and market opportunities that Chicago answers. So if you're curious about bringing your products, your services, your goods to North America and want to better understand how you can connect into Chicago's economy, I'd love to dig into this conversation deeper, talk to you about your particular sectors, areas of interest, and how World Business Chicago can help plug you into our economy and make the case that your business can grow here. So thank you, Toyin, for allowing me to take part in your incredible summit and share a little bit about the trade and investment opportunities that Chicago has with Africa, and to bring more of this potential between Chicago and this emerging market that we are excited to get to know more intimately. I so appreciate this, and thank you all for your time and being able to share this story with you.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. Wow, such a fantastic presentation, Kyle. Great job. Loved it. I think you and I mean, people are just privileged to you and I. We've spoken so many times, right? And it's just this idea that there is a huge opportunity to keep building relationships. And I think I shared with you the story of, His Excellency, the Commissioner for Economic Development and Trade and Industry, coming at my invitation in 2019. And I learned for the first time ever to Chicago. That was his first time. So this whole idea of Washington from a diplomatic standpoint, they all go to Washington, but one of
Yep.
the key messages and why this is so important is saying diversify, connect with the real America that is outside of DC. And what would be your key message to let's say political leaders or business executives on the continent in terms of just this idea of what happens outside of DC?
I think you said it right, Toyin, that the real America happens outside DC. Just listening to reading the newspapers about the activity that happens inside our nation's capital, listening to stories, they're somewhat insulated from the day-to-day lives and the real happenings and shifts in American, whether that's workers, whether that's business opportunities, whether that's just what happens in your day-to-day life. Coming to the capital, if you will, of the American heartland, of the American Midwest, you can have those diplomatic relationships with the 80 consulate corps and honorary consulates we have, but you also get to see firsthand what's going on. And we strive to really help those diplomatic leaders that are trying to better understand and strengthen their ties to America. We work to curate a experience that will benefit them and educate them on those topics that are real and practical, that will add value as they have discussions with other leaders. We have a group from Israel coming in the week after next, where we are customizing their visit so that they can see some of the growth, innovation, as well as the challenges in Americans' healthcare system, so that they can be more affluent when they talk in DC and advocate for policy and trade relationships that'll benefit both sides. So coming gives you that opportunity to see what it's really like to be in America, to live in this crazy country at this moment in time.
Yes, and you and I know we continue to try to dive deeper. We've talked about the Chicago Africa Business Exchange because post COVID, I think that needs to happen. Maybe a visit, site visits and all of that. So I really do look forward to that future where we can actually create opportunities for new partnerships, new collaboration that is mutually benefit in business, right? And so I want to say thank you. Yes, and I'm looking at the comments. There's thank you, Chicago. Thank you. And if there's any question, I want to move on to the next speaker because Kyle, are you staying or you're leaving right now? You
I
have
have
to
to
go.
go.
I know.
I have to
actually,
go to the meeting.
so no, this is good, but you have you're on the platform. How has that platform been for you?
It's been wonderful. The one thing I'll kind of add in closing, and also tying to the platform, is while the pandemic has caused undeniable pain, stress, and heartache for all of us, there are some silver linings. I think I'm the constant optimist that the pandemic has allowed us all to speak Microsoft Teams or Zoom. We all know how to use that, and we all know how to gather. And as we transition out of this pandemic and become more open again, it's a tool that we can't wait to use. And sorry, I'm at home still working.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
That we can have conversations virtually, and the platform has allowed me to connect and understand some of the emerging market opportunities that African entrepreneurs are interested in a way that without Zoom or Teams or the platform, I would never be able to do. And I think Chicago would have overlooked Africa as a whole. So your platform has been a tremendous resource. And so happy to connect on the platform, have a conversation about what's happening and build on today.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being a great partner. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Toyin.
How's the
weekend.
baby? How's the baby?
She's a toddler now.
Oh, growing fast. Okay. enjoy the time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. God bless you. Bye. Wow, that was fantastic. So part of the message here really is just for the community to realize that we do have great partnerships that can literally open new opportunities for our members, in terms of diving deeper into the business community. And one thing is also shared in the past, but I don't think it's shared right now, is that World Business Chicago is actually led by the mayor, is chaired by the mayor of Chicago. So all of the work that is happening, the mayor of Chicago also oversees that as well. So this is really the the key business entity if you wanted to establish a business partnership with the city, and it's such a privilege and an honor for us, for our work to also be recognized and celebrated. So thank you so much.